Alright, hey, what's going on, guys? Aerodactyl here, bringing you a new video. And today we are playing Subnautica. And in this series, we will be doing a playthrough. I'm still fairly new to the game, so those of you who haven't played will be learning along with me. If you have any tips or suggestions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Also, while you are down there, go ahead and give me suggestions for what games you would like to see and what styles of videos you want to see. So today we're gonna start by we're gonna make a new game, and what we're gonna go in survival. And today's goals are we're going to be trying to get the resources necessary to get a couple of oxygen tanks and begin working on gathering basic materials along with getting a good supply of food and water. So I'm gonna go ahead and be quiet for this beginning cutscene.
Attention. Hull failure imminent. All personnel abandon ship. Launch in 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so now we're in the game, and we're going to be so I immediately pick up the fire extinguisher and put out the fire. That's always my first goal when I start, because I don't really want to be messing with fire the whole game. Alright, so now we're going to see the PDA.
Greetings, survivor. Great job not dying. To assist you in further survival emergency situations, you have been issued this personal data assistant. The interface visible now will organize your inventory, display currently available construction blueprints, and holds other valuable information. Please take a moment to familiarize yourself with it. Attention, detecting increased local radiation levels. Trend is consistent with ongoing degradation of the Aurora's dark matter drive core due to damage sustained during collision. Continuing to monitor.
Alright, so now what we've got is we've got our PDA here, which has your inventory, the blueprints that you already know, and as we collect more blueprints, we'll be able to see how to craft different things and stuff in here. And then we've got the voice log, which is kind of our assistant. We've got the photo album, and then the databank. The databank is where we read all the stuff from the PDAs that we've gotten previously. And then in here, we've got this chest. I'm going to put the fire extinguisher in here. And we've got some filtered water and a couple nutrient blocks. Those are used to, keep your food and hydration up. So immediately, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here to personal and equipment. And the first thing I want to get is extra O2 tank. So what we're going to need is 2 titanium and some glass. Now we go into basic materials, and you can see glass here is made out of 2 quartz. So now I'm going to go ahead and hop out of the escape pod. As you can see, this is one beautiful game. Well, it looks like we've got a sea glide fragment right here by our base, which we will get a little later in the game. So the little crystals here are quartz, and over here we have some scrap metal. So you can use, or the metal salvage, you can use it to turn it into multiple titanium. And then here we've got limestone, which will give us a variety of resources. Like if it's limestone, it'll give you like lead, copper, and titanium if you break it. So I'm gonna break it here. I got copper. And then copper is used for early game electronics, along with the salt we have here and a couple acid mushrooms. And then, so
Caution. Continued degradation.
I'm just going to continue gathering some materials here real quick.
Calculating risk assessment. Death by malnourishment. 7%. By physical injury, 11%. By exposure to radioactive crash site materials, 19%. If the drive core is breached, probability of death increases to 65%.
So, I'm gonna try and be quiet while our assistant there is talking, just so you guys can kind of get the full idea of the game. Through here, I'm continuing collecting the basic materials necessary to make some of this stuff. So we're gonna go back in here, and we're gonna make some glass, and then go ahead and make some titanium out of the scrap metal we got. And then we will be using that to make a couple of oxygen tanks, which will help us stay under the water a lot longer. So here we've crafted up a piece of glass, and we're short for another piece of glass. So we're gonna go ahead and craft an oxygen tank, and we're gonna keep our inventory fairly open, and we're gonna go ahead and go look for some resources to go ahead and make the fins. So what you need for the fins is you need the creepvine seed clusters, which can be found over here, but you have to be very careful because there's those right there, the stalkers, and they're very dangerous for you early game. You want to avoid them, but if you are getting chased by them, you want to just kind of swim in a circle around them as you go up. But I'm gonna go ahead and get some creepvine seed clusters, and as you can see here, I've got one of them chasing me. So I'm just going to continue swimming in a circle and going upward, and they will eventually lose interest in you. So we're going to swim back here to the life pod and get in there and use those creepvine seed clusters to make this silicon rubber, which is then used to make fins.
Warning, local radiation readings exhibit characteristics consistent with total degradation of the Aurora's dark matter drive core. A quantum detonation will occur with a probability of 85.5%. Advise observing a 1 kilometer safety range.
So as you can see there, we made some fins out of that silicon rubber that we got, and the fins will help us swim a lot faster. So now we're going to continue gathering resources, but one of the biggest things for early game is to just go swim around and collect some fish that'll be used as your food. So you just swim up to them and click on them, and then here's some bladderfish, which is used for water. Let's get some bladderfish. Just collect a bunch of fish early game is what I always do. And then the peepers here, they're really fast and harder to catch, but if you can catch them, they're the best early game food source. So I really enjoy catching them early. So I'm going to try and catch one more peeper. Alright, I'm not going to be able to catch that peeper. And then as I'm going back, I tend to try and look for salt, which is those little deposits right there. And they're used for using the fish, and you can make a lot better food out of them. You can make cured food rather than just regular food. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this quartz on my way back. Just kind of stockpile resources as I'm going back.
Emergency. Seismic readings suggest a quantum detonation has occurred in the Aurora's drive core. The central dark matter reactor will reach a supercritical state in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
So there we have it, the Aurora just exploded. That's not really a good thing, but it'll help you get resources later on into the game, so. And the Aurora is the ship we crashed in. So, I'm going to grab this salt, and I've got the bladderfish, and so I'm going to look in here, and we're going to see what more we need to make water. So you can make filtered water with just the straight up bladderfish, and then later in the game you can make disinfected water, which is twice as good as filtered water, but it requires bleach to make. So here we're gonna make as much water as we can out of that bladderfish. It's basically all I use the bladderfish for, is making the water. So then we can make just the regular cooked food, which is literally just the fish. Or we can go to cured food and make it a lot better, but that's with salt deposits. So I'm just gonna make one for now, because once you cook them up, they go on this like spoil timer that you do not want to run out of. So I toss my extra water in there. I'm gonna go ahead and drink one to keep my water up, and I'm gonna toss the extra fish in there. So I've got the one cured one, which will give me 21 food. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang on to that. And then look, we're already out of space in here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 3 titanium. I'm gonna go back in here, and you can make deployables. You can make these waterproof lockers. They're really large in your inventory, so you tend to want to keep your inventory clear. And I tend to make them early game so that I don't have inventory issues. And then you can just, you know, put it in one of your hotbar slots, and you can just deploy it by dropping it. And then if we swim up to it, click open storage, we have more additional storage here. So now what we want to work on is we want to work on getting a survival knife, because that'll help you in many situations. So now we have to go back and we have to get more of those creepvine samples to make a survival knife, and then we're also going to start working on getting a battery so that we can get a scanner, which will help us a lot. So let's see, we've got the titanium necessary, we've got 1 creepvine seed cluster, so we just need 1 more to go get the silicone rubber. But I'll probably grab a couple extra while I'm there. Let's see if I can find my way back. I think it's this way. But I just have to take a moment and appreciate how amazing this game looks at night. Just the bright colors and everything. I am playing with the game on the highest settings, so a lot of machines can't quite run it on the highest settings, but it's still a beautiful game nonetheless. Then over here, we've got another stalker. We don't want to mess with it, but we need to get the creepvine seed samples.
Caution, 30 seconds.
Alright, so I'm going to swim up to the surface, and then I'm going to go grab a seed cluster right over there. Another thing is, if you notice the little stalker teeth, which I will show you in a little bit, laying on the ground in here, they're dropped when the stalker picks up scrap metal occasionally. But when they're dropped, you want to pick them up because they're used for later game materials. And they're not super common, so grabbing them is advised. So there I just grabbed a few extra seed clusters because I was here. Figure I might as well make up a couple extra silicone rubber because it's used for a lot of items throughout the game. And down there we've got some salt, so I think I'll swim down and grab that. And a piece of quartz. So if we have inventory space, yeah, we have inventory space. So we're gonna swim down and collect the salt. Used for making food. Quartz. So I'm gonna swim right back, and we're nearing an end for this episode, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the silicone rubber and get the knife, and then we're also going to hurry and try and get a battery made up, and that'll end the episode today. So first we're going to... Oh, and the salt can also be used for magnesium, which is used to craft a few items. So in here we're crafting more silicone rubber just to have a backup source, and also we can use it which is our main goal, is to use it for the survival knife. So if we go in here, I have all this, we're going to grab one piece of titanium, throw our extra stuff in here, and then we're going to go to equipment, tools, survival knife. This is like your completely basic tool for just about everything you're going to be doing in game. So now let's look at how to make a battery, because this scanner will help us to unlock blueprints for later game items. So earlier I was collecting those mushrooms and I got some copper ore out of the rocks. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those. Here's 2 of the mushrooms. And then here's 1 copper ore. And then I'm grabbing an extra titanium. And then we're going to go in here, electronics. We're going to make a battery. We're actually probably going to make an extra battery here pretty quick. Because batteries are used in so many items throughout the game. But we can go in here and we can make a scanner. And then I'm also going to go and try and catch another bladderfish so I can make this thing called an air bladder, which is really useful when you're going throughout the water. So we're going to go ahead and, you know how earlier I talked about there being a fragment really close to our base? It's right down here. It's a sea glide fragment. The sea glide is the earliest form of transportation in the game, so it's very useful to get through the water really fast. But we have to get 2 fragments for it, so we have to go find another fragment for it here pretty quick. So I'm just going to look around for another bladderfish real quick right there to get the air bladder, and then we're going to close off the video. So if I swim up, I still have the extra silicone rubber, so I'm going to go in here, craft tools, air bladder. And I'm going to show you what the air bladder is used for real quick. So we'll go up here, we can go get in the water. So if I swim a little deeper, we'll swim down over here. So you see where, okay, so here's the normal rate of swimming up. Is about, you know, it's decently fast, but kind of slow. But then if we pull out the air bladder and we right click with it, it shoots us up a lot faster, which is useful for getting up when you have low oxygen and things of that sort. So I think that's going to do it for today's episode. It was a really good episode overall. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you all for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, be sure to show your support by hitting the like button if you enjoyed. And have a good one. Aerodactyl out.